The opinions expressed are those of the host. The material is for informational purposes only. It does not constitute investment advice, and it is not intended as an endorsement for any specific investment. Visit crestmontpw.com for more details.
This is Sam McGee with the Ascent, brought to you by Crestmont Private Wealth. And today I've got a very special guest in the studio. I've got my 12-year-old son. So excited to have him here. Welcome, Samuel.
Thank you. I'm excited to do this on the radio.
That's great. So, normally when we talk about finance, it's numbers, it's the future and how things are doing in markets, and even this Wall Street Journal right here, right? Not today. Not today. We are talking about part 3 of the business ownership series, Perspectives from the Business Owner. Only we're going to flip that on its head a little bit today, and it's going to be the perspective of children of business owners. And I think that's really important because we have listeners out there that are thinking about starting a business, or maybe they're retiring and maybe they're going to go consult, and you're weighing different options and you're thinking about the impact it can have on your finances, of course, but also what does that mean in trade-offs as it relates to your family time, raising kids, maybe seeing adult kids even. So, Samuel, do you mind if we ask you a few questions about this?
Yeah.
Great. Okay, so you were born what year?
2012.
2012, okay. And do you know when we first started entrepreneurship? Do you remember when that was?
For what business?
Oh, good answer. So, yeah, we rebranded in 2019 to Crestmont. But do you remember me working anywhere else other than being an entrepreneur?
I mean, otherwise than, of course I remember, now when you're, a firefighter, but, working, no, I don't.
Yeah, so volunteering as a firefighter, yeah. Thanks for bringing that up.
But no, professional.
No, okay. Well, I think this is really neat because we started the business, which we spun off and rebranded in 2019, originally in 2010. So you were born in 2012, so all you have known is dad as a business owner, right? And so I really want to bring to our listeners today a little bit more of the insights, good and bad. I'm going to ask you a couple questions, and be honest, this is unscripted. We're going to ask a few questions about what it's like to be the kid of a business owner. And even this experience, I'm sure, is pretty wild. So let's start with the good. So let's talk a little bit about maybe something that you remember that's been cool about being the kid of a business owner.
Yeah, one of the main things for me has always been that, I've gotten to learn a lot earlier about some of what we in 5th grade and 6th grade, we learned financial literacy, but I feel like I was just ahead of that for learning earlier because of that. I got to learn more about it and more deep into it rather than just shallow and a lot later.
Wow. Oh, that's good. Glad to know that. That's a big word too. And what else? So maybe relating to just day to day, I mean, from a good perspective, what would you say is something that's been maybe good about, I don't know, maybe sponsorships or involvement with sports and things like that? Has there been a benefit to you in that? Have you thought about that at all?
I play tackle football, which I got to practice in an hour for that. I play baseball also. I just got too old for the league, but baseball I played every year with my dad coaching, and that was really fun to have you coach to me because I felt like I could always, I got to hang out with you a lot more. It's always good to have a dad that's always for you.
Samuel, what's another thing that's been good about maybe my schedule, right? Give the good and the bad on that. So over the years, you've seen a lot, with changing offices from one to another and just things that have come up, throughout, seeing your dad as a business owner. Share a little bit about, from your perspective as a kid, maybe the good with that and maybe some of the bad.
Yeah, for the good, I just feel like it's nice because it's a lot easier during the summertime to be able to go on a longer vacation I feel like.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Which is nice without having to then worry about doing less, I guess. Another, I feel like, on the bad side, though, is when we do go on vacation, I feel like sometimes you still have to do the business aspect, which that sometimes it gets annoying, but I understand why. But then I feel like another bad aspect is that sometimes you can get home pretty late rather than I want to spend a little bit more time with you. But the good part is that sometimes you also can go earlier on like a Friday or something and they come pick me up from school.
That's awesome. Yeah. I know that when I set out in 2010, I did not really, truly know what it was going to be like because I've never been a parent before. And as a business owner, I was a first-time business owner. There's always a first of first. I'm sitting here with Samuel McGee, who is in Boerne Radio Studios across from me. And we're talking about the good, the bad, and the ugly of business ownership from the perspective of a kid, which this is unscripted. This is just great stuff to unpack as you think about maybe starting your own business enterprise and you're on the trailhead of that and kind of thinking about how is this going to fit with my family life and go into it a little more eyes wide open. So Samuel, share with us a little bit about some of the things you picked up just over the years relating to that little project that we do every winter. Now, this is a bit of a plug on financial literacy for our Crestmont kids, of course. But every winter, I give you a stock report that you've got to do, right? And then we won't talk about how much money, but there's a little bit of money involved where if you do it well, you keep up your grades, and you do a stock report that you can invest in a stock. Now, we're not going to talk about any specific stocks, but what are some of the things that you've learned, like some jargon and maybe some terminology that you said kind of set you apart 5th, 6th grade?
I remember we started that before we moved to Boerne, so that would have been
2020?
Yeah, it was 2020. It was
okay.
COVID. Yeah,
okay.
That's right.
All right.
And then I remember one morning we had the Wall Street Journal out, and I was looking at the
stock ticker symbols?
The top 1,000 gainers.
Yeah.
And basically, I remember you telling me that we should do like a stock project on it.
Yeah.
You taught me what the dividend yield is, which that is out of the money. Usually it has gained what they're going to give to you after the stock disposal into the stock buyer's account.
Good job.
The EPS is I'm pretty sure it's earnings per share.
You got it. Wow.
So I used that. I would filter it on that. And another one was if they had free cash flow, which means if they're in debt or if they're usually just above it and never have to go in that. Usually from the past, you never know about the future.
Right.
Really.
Yeah, well said. That's pretty good. Okay, so we're talking right here with a 6th grader. Okay. 6th grader talking about EPS, dividend yield, and free cash flow. I would say that's probably a benefit of being the kid of a financial advisory business owner. So you were saying that earlier that being on vacation, that sometimes things come up and that your dad, me, has to address those things. And, ultimately that can kind of get a little annoying because, be on vacation and might interrupt things. So that's kind of a downside. And maybe some of the upside has been that we can choose to take a little bit longer vacation as long as we have a, team back, which we have a great team at Crestmont Private Wealth that serves our clients. So do you remember the day that you came in? And it was the day that you came in and worked at the office. And I had you do some things there, and you got to sit there and listen to all those phone calls that I made and different things that were going on, and the emails and the phone calls, and et cetera, et cetera. And at the end of the day, I kind of remember you being a little maybe tired. Yeah. Take our listeners through that. What was that like as a kid going to work with your parents? And I would definitely encourage the parents, bring your kid to work. I think this was pretty cool.
Yeah, so I remember it was at first I had to do this because I dropped a dinner plate.
Oh, yeah, you were in trouble. Yeah.
Yeah,
that's right.
And that's why I had to go. But at the end, it was honestly more fun. It was tiring. It was a lot of stuff to do. But at the end of the day, it was cool to be able to see. So in the morning, we got there about, I want to say 7, 8.
We got there at 8, yeah.
I remember that, so we first had to go get the brochures and go take them to the Boerne Chamber of
Commerce. Yeah.
Commerce. I remember we put those there in the thing, and then we walked back and went to Solotsky's. While we were driving there, my dad was talking to me about how we really need to cut on the sugar. And as we were driving, he went the wrong way and went to Dunkin' Donuts and went through the drive-thru and was like, "Hi, can I get the turkey sandwich?" After a very serious talk, and the guy at the desk was like, "This is Dunkin' Donuts, sir." And I was like, Dad, do you need to cut the sugar?
That's a great example of distracted business owner talking to son at work while having mind on other things and then driving to the wrong place. Great perspective, Samuel, and thank you for sharing with our listeners. That's fantastic and embarrassing, all wrapped into one.
I love to do it.
Oh, I love it. We're going to pivot back to the point of this now.
Yeah, so after that, we went back to the office to eat. On our picnic table, we made...
Yep, you helped put that together.
Yeah, so
that's
that
right.
was
That was
cool.
part of your job.
And then we went... My dad had to go on a meeting. I remember that. Well, I finished my sandwich. Then I remember you wanted me to write some letters to some clients for investing into a...
Yeah, into a college account. Yeah, with kids' handwriting, just kind of a nice touch. Yeah, you did it. How many did you write?
30.
30. That was awesome. Yeah, you did a great job with that. Really great job. Samuel, I think you just illustrated what it's like to be the kid of a business owner. Very involved. Hopefully I've done this in a purposeful way where it's been educational to you. And today, maybe it's given some of our listeners, you, some insights on what it's like. You know, if you're thinking about starting a business and you're young and maybe your marriage and raising kids, you know, what it's going to be like when you've got a 12-year-old. At Crestmont Private Wealth, we care a lot about financial literacy. It's very important to us. We help those of you that are looking to save for college, provide financial literacy to your children, a mechanism to do that in relationship management at Crestmont. We are located at 1 River Way in Houston, Texas, and 604 South Main in Boerne. Today we've had Samuel Lucas McGee, my son, here on Boerne Radio. Really special to have you here. Love it. Absolutely loved having you on. You sharing your perspective. I hope all of you listening today got something from this. And if you have any questions for me, you can reach out to me at info@crestmontpw.com. We're located at 604 South Main Street and 1 River Way in Houston. Hope you have a great rest of the weekend. God bless.